effect the people who created the American character. And they had their character formed in the basement of this strange tomb of Skull and Bones.
The reason that it is so secret is because if the people of America realized what its elite presidents of the future get up to, they'd realize that they live in anything but the land of the free.
Reports indicate that within the tomb, bonesmen operate on Skull and Bones time, which is 5 minutes ahead of the time in the rest of the world, which is referred to as barbarian time. Every Thursday and Sunday at 6:30, they gather for dinner in the Firefly Room. Non-alcoholic drinks are served in skull-shaped cups. Skull and Bones is a dry society.
Thursday night is a sort of general autobiographical session, in which in the basement of the tomb, in the presence of all this occult Masonic ritual of skeletons and coffins and death's heads and all these sort of things, someone spills the secrets of his life or tells the narrative of his life. But then on Sunday, there's a special session that is given the name Connubial Bliss. And in that session, it's a sexual autobiography. It's hard to imagine George Bush, the former president, chattering away about his early sexual experiences. Nonetheless, one feels that he has to have gone through it. It was required of society.
Absolute secrecy is also required. In his 1999 autobiography, George W. Bush devotes just one sentence to his membership in Skull and Bones. Quote, "My senior year, I joined Skull and Bones. A secret society, so secret, I can't say anything more." The secrecy, according to some researchers, is there to protect the fact that Skull and Bones funnels its initiates into positions of power and influence. In 1977, for example, George W. Bush forms his first company, Arbusto Energy, with the help of several Bonesman investors.
Skull and Bones is a lifelong society, an old boy network. It's a way for members of the establishment to nurture, advance, promote people who think like them, people who belong to the same kind of class, the same kind of elite culture. And so its power grows in a way after one graduates.
This is no old boy network. This is no, I'll pat your back, you pat mine. This is not, oh, you got the same tie as me, so we're okay. This is a vicious group of interbreeding bloodlines seeking to impose their will and their structure of life upon the global population.
My feeling is that Skull and Bones is less a conscious conspiracy, less a cabal than a kind of unconscious community of interests that people who have power in American society tend to gravitate together. A lot of conspiracy theorists take, what I thought was a kind of complex, nuanced view of how power works in America and paint a more lurid picture of a kind of, one-world conspiracy.
Conspiracy advocates contend that the world is a web controlled by one spider, the Illuminati, that disseminates a globalist agenda through a network of secret societies. The inner circle of the web is made up of 3 organizations.
The Bilderberg Group, the Council on Foreign Relations, and the Trilateral Commission have an interlocking leadership. The head of the World Bank, James Wolfensohn, is a member of this network. So is the head of the World Trade Organization. So is the Chancellor of Germany. So is the Prime Minister of Britain, Tony Blair, and a stream of Presidents of the United States, Secretaries of State, the last 6 Secretary Generals of NATO.
There's something extremely dangerous and alluring about the combination of secrecy and world ambition. What could be more threatening than a group that is in the shadows and trying to dominate your life?
The actions that these secret societies have propagated through the last century or so have only led to wars, rebellion, dissension, depressions.
The oldest of the three organizations, the Council on Foreign Relations, is founded in 1921.
It is simply people interested and involved in foreign policy getting together to meet each other, hobnob, make contacts, hear new ideas, argue with their opponents, the sort of things that people who are engaged in political intellectual life do all the time.
Conspiracy theorists disagree and point to one particular event as proof of the Council's hidden globalist agenda.
There's no greater example of the way the Council on Foreign Relations has manipulated history than looking at the profound effect that the United Nations has had on the world and its agencies. And the United Nations is with us because of the Council on Foreign Relations. A committee of the Council on Foreign Relations wrote the proposal. They handed it to Roosevelt, and he then announced it as if it was his policy. At the first meeting in San Francisco to launch the United Nations, 74 of the American delegation were members of the Council on Foreign Relations.
It is this group conspiracists contend that from its founding has also pulled the strings of an American war machine.
When Lyndon Johnson took office and began to take Vietnam as his top priority, he was surrounded by what he was known as his wise men. And almost every one of them, to a man, were members of the Council on Foreign Relations and were pushing for that globalist agenda and for their agenda, which included our control over Southeast Asia.
In 1973, the chairman of the board of the Council on Foreign Relations is David Rockefeller. He brings together some of its most powerful members with elite private citizens from North America, Western Europe, and Japan to form a new 180-member group. It is called the Trilateral Commission.
Most Americans really first became aware of these secret societies with the Jimmy Carter administration because Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer governor of Georgia, was brought into the Trilateral Commission back in 1972. And within 4 years, he's groomed and runs and wins as president of the United States. I once had the opportunity to interview his budget director, Bert Lance. And I asked him, well, what's the deal about the Trilateral Commission? And he simply smiled and he said, I was the only member of the cabinet that was not a member, and now I'm out.
Further proof of the group's influence, according to Mars, comes in 1980 when Ronald Reagan, who is not a member of the Council on Foreign Relations or the Trilateral Commission, runs for president.
And he pledged in New Hampshire that if elected, he would investigate these secret societies. He also said that he would never accept the secret society member George Bush as a member of his administration. So he rushes into the National Convention late at night, very unprecedented, and says, I choose George Bush as my running mate. So George Bush, the secret society man, is now in the catbird seat. And then just a month or two after Reagan took office, he's shot. If it wasn't for about that much, it would have hit his heart, and George Bush would have been in years earlier.
And when George Bush does become president, his State of the Union address in 1991 contains a three-word phrase that confirms for conspiracy advocates his secret globalist agenda.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
George Bush, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton. When you look at their administrations, apparently different, they are all not just awash, they are drowning in members of the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. So no matter what the name of the party in power, the coordinating body remains the same.
These are groups of people who indeed have influence and in some cases are powerful, but they're not meeting with the goal that they're going to act in a unified way and in a clandestine way to seize power. That's just a complete misreading.
But the specter of a secret agenda is raised by the fact that although these groups publish membership lists, agenda notes, and have their own magazines or papers, meetings are officially off the record.
to do it openly would get a big backlash from people. Hey, this is a global fascist state. We're not having this. So it has to be done quietly behind the scenes and brought about in stepping stones.
There's a distinction between informal discussion and a plot. The goal of the Council on Foreign Relations of Bilderbergers is to foster informal discussion, to allow people to have the freedom to say what they're thinking and not be accountable for it. That's very different from a plot where everyone is getting together and making plans to do something evil. And unfortunately, the conspiracy theorists don't see that distinction.
To become a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, you must be nominated in writing by one member, seconded by 2 other individuals, and approved by the membership committee and board of directors. Pipes, as one of the 3,800 members of the Council on Foreign Relations, says he speaks from experience.
There are sometimes petty conspiracies that take place in the secret societies. People working in collusion with their friends to push out someone they don't like. I've never seen, however, any evidence that any of the so-called secret societies want to take over the world.
The majority of their membership are very well could be honest, well-intentioned people, okay? But I don't think that they're truly aware of what the inner motivation and agenda really is. And that's where the true secrecy comes in.
But the evidence, say conspiracy theorists, is in the fact that the agenda set by these groups becomes reality.
I remember covering a trilateral commission meeting some years ago in which they advocated a 10-cent a gallon federal tax increase on gasoline in the United States. That meeting ended with their farewell, Monday morning farewell as usual. On Tuesday, Washington Post came out in favor of, you guessed it.
When you've got organizations which bring together the most influential people in power from around the world, who meet in secret, who try as much as they can to keep knowledge of the event quiet, and then their policies become policy in fact in the world, then you start to surely ask very serious questions.
And the one group with the best track record for implementing the policies of this secret elite, according to conspiracists, is also the world's most secret society. It is called the Bilderberg